Good morning. This is Giovanni Gallucci, joined by Chloe Dawn and Rachel Donovan, and this is the Daily Trend Report.
Morning, Giovanni. I set a cold can of crazy water in front of me every episode and never once drink it. Today's no different.
Morning, you two. Jogged the long way in from Marathon with the windows down. The Mustang's still ticking outside.
Of course it is. All right, 3 things today. The trust gap that's turning AI content into a buying problem. Washington quietly losing the fight over what even counts as ultra-processed. And a laundry brand that cast 2 people who can't stand each other. Let's get into it.
So Travis put this at the top of his whole stack, and Jayme had it at number 1 too. So I read it twice. 3 separate surveys this summer put a number on something we've all felt in our gut. People can smell the robot now, and they're voting with their wallets.
Give me the numbers.
June Harris poll. 78% say AI makes an ad feel less authentic. 63% say they're less likely to buy from a brand running AI-generated ads. And here's the one that stopped me. 82% of ad executives think Gen Z feels good about AI ads. 45% of Gen Z actually does.
So the people buying the tools understand the audience the least.
And the gap is widening, not closing. 32 points 2 years ago, 37 now. It's cracking open like a caliche road in August. So why does the dumb version of this story keep getting louder, Gio? The one that goes, people hate AI, so put the tools down.
Because it's easy, and it's wrong. Nobody's ever been mad at a spell checker. The resistance isn't to the machine, it's to the machine standing in the spot where a person's supposed to be standing. Use it for the boring stuff nobody grades you on. Transcripts, resizing, alt text, tagging your archive, your posting schedule. That's the basement. Then put a real human at the counter.
Adobe basically said the same thing this week, didn't they?
Tuesday, 850 small business owners. 79% said a clear point of view is the thing that makes people follow them. 56% said when everyone's holding the same tools, the edge goes to whoever has the best taste. Read that next to the Harris numbers, and the whole play falls out on the table.
Which is what?
AI as the machine wins. AI as the message loses. And most brands don't have a content problem here, they've got a courage problem. If your last 30 posts could have been typed by anybody with the same prompt, you don't have a voice, you've got a template.
The little guy actually wins this one, though. A founder with an opinion beats a giant with a content farm.
Every time. A big brand runs everything through legal and 3 approval layers, and it comes out sanded smooth. A small operator can put a real name on the post, get on camera, and answer the comment themselves this afternoon. That's the thing a Fortune 500 can't buy back once they've automated it away.
Give me a real example, though. What does human at the counter look like for a brand that isn't a personality?
Stanley, the Cup people. They rebuilt their whole site for AI search. FAQs, care instructions, real explanations sitting under the pretty pictures. Let the machine do all of that, and their brand chief says flat out they've run 0 consumer-facing creative through AI and don't plan to. Machine in the basement, human at the counter, same company, on purpose.
And the loyalty data backs it up.
Clutch found 36% of people say seeing real humans behind a brand is the single strongest driver of loyalty. Ahead of price, ahead of the product itself. That isn't a soft number.
There's a money version of this too, right? Not just nicer, cheaper.
Kava's running a growing chain on marketing spend just over 1% of revenue, while the industry average sits near 8%. In-house team makes most of the content, and they lean on creators who already loved the brand instead of renting a paid roster. Real enthusiasm from actual people beat a rented megaphone, and it beat it on the books.
So the payoff is a point of view, out loud, with a face on it.
A point of view somebody could actually disagree with. Not a tone of voice. Friendly, confident, never uses exclamation points. That's a style guide, and every brand on earth has one. A real position says, here's what we believe about how this gets made, and here's what we gave up to hold that line. You can feel the difference in 4 seconds of scroll. One got approved, the other got decided. Okay, 3 things you can actually do today. 1. Write down 3 things your brand believes that a reasonable competitor would argue with. Can't get to 3? That's the post you've been missing, and no amount of generated video papers over it.
2. Put a named human in every customer-facing frame this week. Real name on the post, a real face answering your top comment on camera, not the brand logo doing the talking.
3. Pick one format you can run every week with one take and one camera and say the same true thing until people start associating it with you. Consistency isn't posting frequency. It's repetition of a stance.
Mine's the one Travis led his food section with, and Kendall and Jayme both landed on it too, so it's not a fluke. The first federal definition of ultraprocessed food was sitting there, ready to publish. And then it didn't.
Walk me through it.
FDA and USDA submitted the definition for final review Monday. Then they went quiet, said the details would come, quote, at a later date. And Bloomberg reported what happened in the gap. Food company chief executives and their trade groups wrote letters and called the White House asking them to hold it.
On what grounds?
That naming the thing would invite lawsuits and raise their costs. That's the whole objection.
Sit with that a second. The argument wasn't that the science is wrong, wasn't that the categories don't work. It was that writing down a definition creates legal exposure. That's the entire clean label thesis, handed to you by the other side, gift-wrapped.
And the reflex I want you to talk me out of is, well, wait for the rule. Everybody just waits for Washington.
That's exactly the trap. The delay isn't a setback for a small brand, it's the opening. The companies that fought hardest to kill a definition are the same ones that definition would have described. You don't need a politician, you don't need a party, you just point at the plain fact and let it sit there. Meanwhile, the floor is still rising, Congress is drafting, states are moving on their own clocks, and there's a separate rule making companies actually tell the agency when they quietly decide an ingredient is safe on their own say-so.
So what does an independent do with a short ingredient list this month?
2 things, and neither one lives in your legal department. First, film the room. The mill, the kettle, the line, the hands doing the work. Every process video you post is a claim a giant structurally can't match, because their supply chain has 40 steps and a review board, and yours has a Tuesday. Second, put your standard on the front of the pack and say it plainly. Not a value statement, the specific thing you'll never put in the box and why.
Big Food's telling on itself and the microphone's just sitting there.
Unused. A brand like MASA built a whole position on 3 ingredients and never once waited for anybody in Washington to bless the language. The category is getting defined this year in public. The only open question is whether operators like you write it or get written about.
And this isn't only a federal story. The states aren't waiting on anybody.
Not even a little. You've got states pulling synthetic dyes out of school food, others banning them at retail a couple years out, a real 50-state patchwork forming. And that patchwork punishes the national skew that has to be one thing in every state, and it quietly rewards the regional producer who was already clean. If you're small and honest, the map is bending your way for once.
So say it on camera before the big guys reformulate and claim they were always here.
Beat them to the microphone. The reformulation theater is coming. The press releases about how they were clean all along. The independent who's actually been clean the whole time gets to point at the receipts and the room where it gets made. You can't fake a kitchen. All right, 3 moves before we roll on. 1. Film where your product actually gets made this week and post the process. Not the pretty beauty shot, the work is the content.
2. Put your full ingredient list on the front of the pack. Then make one post that just reads it out loud and says what you'll never add. One idea, said plainly.
3. Pin a post asking people what they actually want to know about how it's made, then answer every single reply on camera for a week. The questions are the series.
Last stretch, and this is straight from what brands actually shipped this week. Travis flagged it. Persil, the detergent, launched a new formula and cast 2 people from the Real Housewives of Orange County who have real on-screen history. And the history isn't friendly.
Heather Dubrow and Gina Kirschenheiter. They've had genuine tension on camera for years.
Right. 30-second spot running 13 weeks across Bravo and Peacock, and the social layer is the reveal that both of them have secretly been using the same detergent the whole time. Now, everybody's going to look at that and say, sure, celebrity budget must be nice.
That's the wrong read.
Completely wrong. The tactic isn't the celebrity, it's the casting. They put two people with a pre-existing relationship and real friction in the same frame, so the banter reads as unscripted, because underneath it mostly isn't. Most brands cast for likability and get flatness. Two nice people agreeing pleasantly is the deadest thing on the feed.
And that part scales all the way down.
That's the whole point. You don't need Bravo. You've got two people on your own team who genuinely disagree about something in your category. The purist and the shortcut guy. The old way and the new way. Put them on camera and don't script the agreement. Friction generates episodes forever. A product demo generates exactly one, and then you're staring at a blank calendar again.
Compare it to the Gap thing this week. One expensive centralized film, and the audience turned on it.
Because it was one big idea from a few people in a room. The personal move distributes the tension between two humans and lets the audience lean in. Recurring characters compound. By the third time somebody sees these two go at it, they already know the dynamic. And that's retention you didn't pay for twice. A logo never earns that.
How do you even know if it's working? Views?
Not views. Views will lie to you on this one. The number that tells you whether you built a cast or just posted content is the return rate. Of the people who watched two of these, how many came back for a third? That's the only figure that separates a duo people follow from two coworkers on a screen.
And you bank a few before you post one, so you don't quit after the first flops.
Bank a handful. These formats die around week 5 when somebody gets busy and the cadence breaks. 4 in the can beats 1 and a good intention. And don't kill it because episode 1 underperformed. Episode 1 always underperforms. The dynamic is what compounds, and compounding takes reps.
It doesn't have to be 2 employees either. Could be you and one regular who always pushes back.
Perfect casting. The customer who argues with you in the comments every week isn't a problem. That's your co-star. Invite the loudest friendly skeptic on and let them take a swing. People trust a brand that can sit across from somebody who disagrees and not flinch.
So the close is, cast the conflict. Don't smooth it.
Cast the conflict and let it stay unresolved. The comment section picks a side, and that argument is your distribution. If your brand doesn't have an opinion, it doesn't have a voice, and two people who actually disagree is the fastest way to grow one on camera. Here's what to do with all of that. 1. Find two people on your team who genuinely disagree about something real in your category and put them on camera together this week. Don't hand them a script that ends in a handshake.
2. Give the pair a recurring bit. Same setup every time, so people come back for the two of them, not for the product sitting between them.
3. Let the disagreement be real and leave it unresolved. Pin the best round and let the comments fight it out. That's the reach.
That's the show. If you run a food or beverage brand with a genuinely good product and an Instagram that posts 5 times a week into silence, that quiet is a strategy problem, not a reach problem. That's the work I do. Organic social strategy for food and beverage brands. Figuring out what you actually stand for and building the feed around it. I ran organic for Frito-Lay and Chili's back in the day, so I've seen what moves and what just sits there. Gallucci.net or DM at gallucci.net on Instagram or LinkedIn. Go make something worth arguing about. See you tomorrow.